to know more about the places that you may visit in the
But I'm not talking about what we should learn. I'm talking that when they destroyed it, they should have thought that what we learned doesn't have to do with anything that's happening, and we don't have to do with Hamas or Fatah or anything that happened.
That's not the main reason.
Yeah.
So then what do you do after school?
I study.
Just go home?
Yeah, I go home and study.
Do you guys go to theater?
There's no cinema.
There's
there's
only one cinema, but it's so small and
it's not like a cinema.
Yeah, it's like
it's not very
Zoom
and there's no movies that come out like that. Yeah, you eat bananas instead of.
So there's no like play theater in the life.
No.
You just came from the mall. How is life in Gaza different from life that you see girls your age experiencing here at the mall and on Staten Island?
Of course, this is life here, but back in Gaza, there's nothing.
Yeah, but it was an adventure.
Yeah.
It's to know. It's like to open your window and seeing people like the airplanes. It was It's like
it's a nice
you may learn
feeling.
from such events.
The buildings and the streets are like what? Where you live? What, you live in concrete buildings with many families in them?
She lives in a little
No,
bit
everyone lives like in a separate house.
Oh, single house for...
Not everyone.
She
there's
lives in a villa.
Yeah.
I live in a building. My street is like, it's like my building is for Fatah. The one in front of us is for Hamas. There's
This is in Gaza City, isn't it?
Well, this was 3 years ago.
Yeah, and then Salama, Wizara in English.
Wizara, ministry.
And then a ministry in front of me for Fatah and a ministry beside me for Hamas. So it's like...
That's not true anymore, though. I want to make a comment that Salma was in a nice house. I mean, there's diversity in terms of income. So she was in a house. A lot of people, however, live in either many people in a building or small homes. I want to, Salma, one thing I have you comment on. One of the problems I see with the young people, the biggest complaint, sort of the soul-killing thing about it, is there's nothing to do. There's literally nothing to do, except for maybe to be online a lot. And now,
after I study, I get online until I sleep. That's what I do.
There's no playgrounds. There's no
parks.
My grandson is like that. He grew up like that.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, this is forced.
It's not fun.
And it's not due to Hamas.
Yeah, I understand.
But it is a problem worldwide that kids are online so much, or playing games, and they're not outside exercising.
Yes, but I mean, like, we don't have.
You don't even have the option.
Yeah, that's what made the American school special. There's like lots of big playgrounds and lots of games.
And they used to get the games and everything from here.
So how much does it cost to buy a meal in Gaza?
Oh, it's like...
I
don't know now.
Just in a restaurant, you go to a restaurant. You know, remember last night we went to ate hamburger or whatever?
Each has its own price.
What's the average thing you think is not expensive?
Not expensive?
Yeah.
29 shekel, which is like about 1.5 pounds.
1.5 pounds what?
Egyptian pounds.
Oh, 1.5 Egyptian.
Yeah, $1 Egyptian dollar is
Egyptian
like...
dollar?
I mean, American dollar.
American dollar.
Is like...
50 Egyptian. Right, 5 Egyptians.
Yeah, 5, 6, something like this.
But do you have things like a McDonald's or a Gaza City soy burger place?
No, we travel to eat this. We travel here.
They wanted to come here to eat.
Wow. How can you reconcile the contrast? Like, I mean, in this country, there's a lot of, deceptions and distractions, like the mall, for example. Right. Whereas where y'all come from, it's very barren, economic blight, not much chance for, for things growing up and, thinking in a practical manner because, it's so bad over there.
Yeah.
And, y'all know that, our government in this country is responsible for that. Like, how do you reconcile that huge contrast? I'm sorry, I mean, this might not be all
Can you simplify that?
Can you make me understand it first?
Yeah, it's unfair.
Okay, well, like in this country, people don't know, the average American doesn't know how bad a typical Gazan resident has it. Right. Because we're all surrounded by deceptions and distractions, and our government doesn't want us to know the facts on the ground over there because our government is responsible for that.
Do you understand the question?
Yeah.
Do you understand the question?
Yeah.
So while we obviously we have a higher quality of life if that's what you use the criteria to measure that, but what would you say about the average intelligence level of an American since you've been over here? I mean, do you think
she's 13 and we are like
They arrived yesterday, by the way.
So you want
to see what we know.
Okay, maybe a question that's a little bit easier to relate to. Have you stayed in an American hotel at any time, or have you been in private homes?
Because they got here yesterday.
Yeah, they just got
okay.
I stayed at Elaine's house.
They're fresh off the boat.
Close.
Oh, okay.
Like a hotel?
So I'm wondering what the first reaction would be to see a hotel breakfast buffet.
Oh. Well, again, I guess the other comment I make is, I mean, Selma comes from a fairly well-off family in Gaza, but I know, one thing that I found rather jarring that most of you would think about is that there's the average power outages in Gaza are about 8 to 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
There's no power.
Yeah.
Unless you have backup generators.
What do you do when there's no electricity?
But she's got
I sit down. I do nothing. And then when it comes, I jump to internet.
There were no books to read.
Yeah.
But there's no electricity, so it's like...
Do you have musical instruments, homemade ones even?
No, we don't.
They don't allow that. That's on the banned list, actually.
Oh my God.
There's a list of items. I mean, just to get an idea, Israel has. They only allow about 114 items. There are other things in there, but they come through the tunnels.
Okay.
A vast majority of things come through the tunnels. So if you hear the stories about tunnels being for weapons, it's really that's their livelihood. I mean, that's how they get anything.
From Egypt.
Yeah.
Right.
Israel has this arbitrary list they don't make public. It's impossible to get, and there's been organizations that have tried to get an actual copy of what is allowed and what's not allowed, and they refuse to make it public. Some things have been constant, like rebuilding materials. There's no cement, no wood, no glass allowed in. So actually, when you talk about kids doing things, there's still a lot of destroyed buildings. They've done some rubble cleanup. A lot of times they have not been able to. So that's what the kids sort of a lot of times play on, especially in the refugee camps, which are extremely crowded and there's no place for the kids to go. But they don't allow any rebuildings. But toys. One day there's no pasta allowed in. There's no real sense to that. But so some things change day to day, and you're never sure what it is. And other things haven't been allowed in from the very beginning. So everything else comes to the.
If they had arrived 3 days ago, they could have gone to our political club and done an amazing amount of good in terms of enlightening people who could be very helpful. We have at our political club a lot of people who are involved at a political level that would make a difference, and they need some readjustment in terms of their thinking. They have the idea that the Israelis are the victims here, and that and that the Israeli policies, the governmental policies, are a good thing. And of course, I argue to the contrary, but it doesn't matter. That's the point. If you could have just been here a few days ago,
there's joy there.
Yeah, so we're gonna get like these politicians that are willing to change their ideas.
They need exposure.
People do change their ideas when they meet people.
That's right. They need exposure.
They have an experience. They get to know someone who's from another place. I think people do change their thoughts. I mean, I'm sure we all grew up in this country, and we're subjected to propaganda since we were little, and only through reading and reaching out, being curious, have we changed. So we have to have